Welcome. I'm Lisa Slankard with the League of Women Voters of the Arlington Heights, Mount Prospect, Buffalo Grove area. I do not live in Mount Prospect, so I am not voting in this mayoral race. This interview is brought to you by the League of Women Voters of the Arlington Heights, Mount Prospect, Buffalo Grove area, which supports 6 suburbs of Northwest Cook County, including Arlington Heights, Mount Prospect, Buffalo Grove, Wheeling, Prospect Heights, and Elk Grove Village. The League of Women Voters is a volunteer, nonpartisan grassroots political organization. In our 100 years, we have not endorsed or opposed a candidate. Our mission is to empower voters and defend democracy. Candidate interviews encourage informed voting and active participation in government, and they increase understanding of major public policy issues. With me is Trisha Chokshi, one of 2 candidates running in the April 1st consolidated election race to be the mayor of Mount Prospect. We have asked the candidate to give a 90-second opening statement and to cover in it her qualifications and experience, what she wants to do during the term of office if elected, and what she wants the voters to know about her. She will be asked 6 questions and will have 90 seconds to answer each question. The candidate has received the questions in advance and a timer is being used. We have also asked the candidate to give a 1-minute closing statement. Candidate Chokshi, please begin your opening statement.
Thank you, Lisa, and I appreciate the opportunity from the League of Women Voters to be here today. My name is Trisha Chokshi. I've been a resident of Mount Prospect since 2013. I'm a practicing attorney and I own my own law firm here in Mount Prospect. My practice is focused on immigration law, real estate, and small business. I'm running for mayor because I believe Mount Prospect is ready for a change. In recent years, we've grown in more ways than one. We've grown geographically, demographically, economically, and the challenges we are facing are more complex. The needs of the community are changing, and we need bold leadership at the highest level of village government to meet this moment and carry us forward. I will bring a collaborative approach and a fresh, forward thinking perspective to this role. I'm also going to bring multifaceted experience to the job, having previously worked as an organizer in the nonprofit sector, a congressional staffer in the 8th Congressional District, and now in the private sector as an attorney. Since 2016, I've also served on the village's Finance Commission, and I currently serve as board president of the Mount Prospect Chamber. I've advocated for initiatives that promote local growth on a regular basis. Having this breadth of experience will make me ready on day one. There's still work to be done to ensure Mount Prospect is a safe, vibrant, and inclusive community. And with a new generation of leadership, I'm confident we can get that done.
Thank you very much. And now we'll be going on to the questions. Our first question is, the village created a sustainability plan. How will you go about implementing it? You have 90 seconds to answer this question.
The existing plan includes an implementation guide, which I think provides good goals and action items for the plan. I think it would be helpful to refine the plan to include clear benchmarks and timelines to make sure that we're staying on track and ensure that there's an annual review of our progress. If the goal is village-wide sustainability, then partnerships are going to be key as well. Right now, the relevant stakeholders aren't all at the table. So I would like to expand the committee to include stakeholders such as our business community, like our chamber, our park districts, and our school districts. Many organizations have their own sustainability goals and practices. So I think it would be more of an efficient and effective process if we were all communicating with one another on these goals. For example, as chamber president, I recently worked with the village on implementing its reducing its use of single-use plastic utensils. Now, restaurants handle carry out and deliveries in a very different way post COVID. And when you add to that staffing constraints, technology, third party delivery services, and rising costs, it becomes that much more of a unique process to implement initiatives like this. So that's where I think these stakeholder relationships will be key if we're going to move this plan forward.
Thank you very much. Our second question is, what strategies will you employ to support local small businesses and ensure equitable economic development across all neighborhoods? You have 90 seconds for this question.
So, the first step is strengthening our partnerships and stakeholder engagement. I myself am a small business owner, and as president of the chamber, I'm always speaking with my fellow business owners on how we can help them while also promoting additional growth in Mount Prospect. Right now, the village doesn't have real meaningful organized engagement with the small business community. If anything, we've taken a few steps back. As part of my work on the chamber, we've proposed changes to modernize our liquor code to help restaurants. We've called for a formal food truck ordinance. We've offered to help with the village on its formal outdoor dining policy, special events policy, and its Mount Prospect Entrepreneurs Initiative. There's been no constructive dialogue on these initiatives. Village leadership doesn't necessarily foster an environment where different feedback is welcome or oftentimes just isn't respected. So, as mayor, I would change that. It's a bit disingenuous when a government employee is informing a small business owner how to run their business without having that business at the table. I'd also like to see the creation of uniform TIF funding criteria. I think TIF increment can be used to expand some of our existing grant programs as well. And I also think formalizing a procurement policy where we can emphasize use of local businesses on village purchases and services would be something I would support as well.
Thank you very much. Our third question is, how will you ensure transparency in decision-making processes and maintain accountability to the community? Once again, you have seconds.
Well, first, we need to change our open meetings process to allow for better transparency. We don't provide our residents with the full scope of information. Full agenda packets need to be made available online, both at the boards and commissions level and at the village board level. This will allow residents to meaningfully review an item that's on the agenda prior to the public meeting and may even entice them to engage in the process more. We need to make that information more easily accessible on the website as well. This is an area where we can leverage technology and social media to help get the information out and have more effective engagement. I'd also like to see the village utilize the annual reporting tool more effectively. Much of the data that is needed for an annual report is already available. So producing these reports are going to give us a better glimpse into village operations, and it promotes just general accountability and transparency. As an organization internally, this would help village staff, I think, better plan their policies, their training, helps in employee recruitment, which can go a long way for departments like the police department and fire department, both of whom have expressed challenges in recent years on finding good qualified candidates. Finally, it also assists in the grant process, having a more formalized reporting tool readily available.
Thank you. Our fourth question is, what measures will you support to increase affordable options for low and middle income families in Mount Prospect? Once again, 90 seconds.
Well, we're approaching 3 years since the adoption of the South Mount Prospect TIF, and the village can incentivize the improvement of existing housing stock and increase access to affordable housing utilizing the TIF. Simply stating that Mount Prospect meets or exceeds its legal requirement for affordable housing is just not enough. And it doesn't do enough to address the growing reality that there are limited affordable housing options for working families and seniors in our village. Um, and including those who are looking to move to Mount Prospect. The governor recently signed a statewide executive order which directed various state agencies to find ways to increase and improve affordable housing. So the need has clearly been identified, and there's a real opportunity for our village to leverage this TIF to address affordable and workforce housing needs. This reduces the overall tax burden, so I think it should be a priority. I'd also like to see a comprehensive review of our service-based fees. We always hear about a flat property tax levy, but those levies are almost always accompanied with an increase in rates for basic services like our water, refuse, and garbage collection. So if there's a way for us to take a real good look on any additional areas that we can cut, I think that that would benefit our working families immensely in the long term.
Thank you. Our fifth question is, what are the top challenges for the village, and what policies or initiatives will you propose to meet those challenges? Once again, 90 seconds.
So I have two parts to my answer. One, we're operating on a very different federal landscape right now, and the type of spending cuts and freezes that are being discussed are going to have a very big impact on local governments. There are also major legislative initiatives at the state level, especially around pension reform, such as Tier 2 pension reform, that are going to greatly impact our finances if they move forward. So, a collaborative working relationship and open line of communication with our state officials, our federal delegation, and local community partners will be that much more important in coming years if we're going to make sure that Mount Prospect's interests are being adequately conveyed to lawmakers. As a former congressional staffer, I can assure you and tell you that those communications, open lines of communication, are absolutely vital. Second, I think we need to prioritize the diversification of our tax revenues. We will hear from my opponent that our sales tax generation is healthy and is constantly growing. But absent from that conversation is the blunt fact that the majority of our sales tax comes from a single source. That's a risky proposition. It's not a sound financial strategy. So I think we do need to act with urgency on diversifying those revenues. One way to do that is to revisit our comprehensive economic development plan to make sure that we are thinking boldly and creatively on expanding our local economy.
Okay, and our final question is, what role, if any, should citizens play in the village's strategic planning process? You have 90 seconds.
The citizens should absolutely play a major role in the strategic planning process. Right now, our planning process doesn't foster citizen engagement. The meetings are not televised. The meetings are not, or excuse me, the meeting minutes are not available after the meeting has taken place. The documents that are provided to the village board and the village staff are not released to the public. I myself have attended these meetings. Residents are usually told to sit in the back, and there's no real opportunity for residents to engage with board members at the meetings. So, first, we need to fundamentally change how we conduct and facilitate strategic planning to allow for more transparency. Second, there's no meaningful community input to be gathered either. In 2022, there was a community summit to gauge feedback from residents and stakeholders, but the individuals that attended this meeting were handpicked by the mayor and village board members themselves. So this hardly fosters inclusivity and representation. And frankly, it just builds more groupthink. So we need to make community engagement and input a fundamental component of our strategic planning process. I'd also like to consider formalizing a bid policy for our strategic planning consultants so that we're changing firms every few years. If the objective is to map out our vision, it makes sense for us to engage with a variety of industry experts on this.
Thank you for answering these questions, Candidate Chokshi. We now have a closing statement of which you will have 60 seconds, and you may begin.
Thank you, Lisa. And I also want to thank the League of Women Voters for giving me this opportunity to speak with voters today. I'm running for Mount Prospect mayor because I believe we need a new generation of leadership in village government. Public service is in my blood. My father was a municipal engineer for over 40 years. And what I saw from a very early age is that public service provides an enormous opportunity for innovation and fundamentally changing the lives of ordinary citizens one project at a time. And it's in that spirit that I'm choosing to run for office. So on April 1st, I would proudly and I would very much ask for you to cast a vote for me as the next mayor for Mount Prospect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Candidate Chokshi, very much for participating in this candidate interview.
Thank you.